These are free folding or campaign travel mirrors, and I thought it would be a good opportunity to compare and contrast them. So let's have a look at the oval one first of all. Now this is a fairly typical design, and we see a number of these in different sizes. This is probably a medium size. We've had smaller and we've certainly had larger, and they were made throughout most of the 19th century. You'll see a lot of them described as Regency or early 19th century, but just be aware that the Army and Navy Store was still advertising them in 1907. So just have a good look and make sure you know the age of it. Of course, the design didn't change much, so it's difficult to be accurate on the age, but you can look at the quality of the timber, the make, the metalware, etc., etc. So you've got a covered board here which protects your looking glass, and that folds down. You can then hang your mirror from this loop at the top if you want to shave, or if we look at these chamfered edges here, we can see that the backboard and the mirror will fold against itself and it'll stand, and you can put it on a surface and use it as a little mirror. Nearly always the glass is held in with boxwood, ebony and boxwood stringing all the way around, as is the case on this one. And also they quite typically have some inlaid boxwood decoration. We can see two circles here and also to the back. A variation on the mirror is that you get a magnifying glass to the protective board, and that's quite useful if you're shaving. You want to have a good close look, and typically instead of being oval, that will be round in shape, so you can quickly distinguish which mirror is which when you're using it. Now, this is a similar design, works to the same sort of principles. We can see that it's made of rosewood, so it's a smarter timber. In fact, the whole quality of it is just a little bit of a step up. We still got the boxwood inlaid oval, but it's on rosewood, and the locking mechanism is a little bit more sophisticated. So we can see there's a button up here, and we press that, give it a little bit of a wiggle, and that releases a catch which releases this barbed pin at the top. Again, it'll fold back on itself so it will stand, but a common fault to these mirrors which have got the locking pin is that the pin always seems to be on the protective board, and so therefore it sits on the surface when you stand the mirror, and so it's liable to perhaps scratch the surface. It would have been a much better design if the pin was located above the mirror rather than the board, but they always seem to be that way. And again, it's got the boxwood stringing holding it in, with the ebony as well. We can see there's a bit of damage to the outside layer of boxwood just at the top there. There's a little bit missing. So that's going to be mid to late 19th century, made of rosewood. So on to the last one. Now this is quite unusual because it's made of ebony, solid ebony, which makes you think, is it Anglo-Indian? Well, it may well be. These applied silver or silver plated initials are typically English. I wouldn't expect to see those in India, so perhaps they are added later, or the person bought it and put them on, or maybe the mirror's even English. The trouble is there's not an awful lot to go on because the design didn't change much. The only thing we can really go on is the timber being solid ebony. The way it hinges is slightly different. You've got a screw on either end here into the board just to pivot it, and that folds back on itself and stands the same as the other two, with the protective board forming the foot. It's also got the hanging ring, so you can hang it on your tent pole if you want to. And this is going to be late 19th century. No boxwood and ebony stringing holding it in, but we do have a beveled edge to the glass. So there you go, 3 folding campaign mirrors. And they are made in a variety of sizes. They're nearly always mahogany. Occasionally you'll see rosewood like this. Hardly ever will you see ebony like this. Made throughout most of the 19th century, but most of them tend to be late 19th century.